This is the second of my tutorials on layers. Here I'm going to merge two images. I'm going to open each image, find the right file, my layers file. I'm going to open some prison bars. I'm going to leave them as floating images because it's easier to move selections or images one on top of the other if they're floating. Now I need my second image, and I'm going to have this rather beautiful cow. Okay, now I want to put this cow behind these bars, so I'm going to get my move tool, click on that image, and I'm going to drag across and load it on that image. I'm going to shut her down because I don't need her anymore. Move that across, and now I'm going to dock this image because it's sometimes easier to work with a docked image. Now all we can see here in the workspace is the cow. We can't see the prison bars. But if you go to the right here, you'll see we've got the layer of prison bars on the bottom and the cow on the top. Now in this example I'm going to use the eraser tool to put the cow behind the bars, similarly to what I did in the first tutorial. The first thing I need to do is I need to see where the bars are. So I'm going to click, well I'm already clicked on this layer. I'm going to go up to opacity here in the top right. I'm going to move the slider down till I can see the bars clearly. Okay, now I'm going to go over to the left, pick up my eraser tool, and I'm going to put it on the bars. Now I'm going to make it use the square brackets to either make it bigger or smaller as I move along the bars. I want this one to be quite small. I've already clicked, so I'm just going to Control Z to get rid of that. And Control Z again. And do eraser. I didn't need to do that, but I want to start off the way I mean to go on. Right, so I clicked on the top. I'm going to go down to the bottom, and I'm going to use the Shift key to do a straight line, which you can do if you have a straight line. I'm going to do the same at the top here, click at the top, click at the bottom, click across here. I'm using the Shift key all the time, and then I'm just going to paint down the middle without using the Shift key. There's no need to do that. I could make it a bit bigger to make life easier for myself. In fact, I'll do that for the next one. Right, I'm going to click at the top, click at the bottom, click across that side, click across that side, and again paint down the middle. Alright, the same here. Go the other side, just making sure I get each side of right up to the bars. Carry on doing this. You'll notice that as I click, the cow disappears from the area I've already clicked on, doesn't it? I think I need to click on this side again. I don't think I did it properly. Right, so we've got no cow there. Drag again here, 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 and the final one here, 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 and here. Right, now all we need to do is we increase our opacity, and there you have cow behind bars. Now it looks perfectly good. It's a very good image, but let's start playing about with it a bit. We go to the move tool. We're on the top layer. Let's just move the cow. Now you can see that if I move it, I get the blanked out piece moving with it. So once I've erased the parts of the cow that are covered by the bars, I can't do anything else with it. I can't decide to alter it without really starting all over again. It's not very easy to do that. So I'm going to show you a different way of producing the same effect, but giving you more chance to play around more easily. So I'm going to get rid of this layer and I'm going to click on it, and then I'm going to just drag and drop it into this bin at the top right here, and it's gone. So I'll open the same layer up again, my cow. The same thing, drag her across, I'm assuming it's a she. Put her in place, go back to drop my opacity again. This time I'm going to do something a bit different. I'm going to add a layer mask. Now in order to do that, I'm going to go up to these icons here at the top. I'm choosing the middle one. I'm going to click on it, and you'll see this white apparent sheet of paper appears alongside the cow. Now this is the mask, and where you have white, it means it covers everything on that layer. Remember, when we're using layers, whatever we do only affects that layer that we're on. Now, if we want to expose anything, we need to paint it black. So it's important that whenever you're using a layer mask, you go down to the bottom of the tools bar to these two colour squares and make sure that they are black and white, with the black set as the foreground colour, because that is how you're going to reveal what's beneath this white layer here. Think of the black hole, if you like. So through the hole you can see what's behind it. And I can do the same thing as before, except instead of using the eraser, I'm going to use a brush. So I'll pick my brush. Again, I size it according to the bars. I can size it a bit bigger there, I think, because I can go out of the picture. I'm going to click on the top. I'm going to hold my shift key down, click at the bottom. I'm going to increase in size, hold it, shift, 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 and might do a bit down the middle if I need to. Click, shift, 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 click, and again I'll do down the middle, paint it in. And we'll do it again. We'll go to the other side, make sure both sides are covered. Actually, I didn't want to do that because what's happened, it's gone across there. You'll notice I've also gone over a bit across the bar, but we're going to leave that because it doesn't actually matter at the moment. So I'm going to shift down there, go across there. The joy of using masks is that when you make a mistake, it's very easy to repair, and it doesn't have to be repaired the minute after you've made it. You can actually do everything you want to do, look at what you've done, and then decide whether you need to go back and do anything about it. Right, so let's increase the opacity, and we have exactly the same apparently as before, except I haven't been quite so careful on the at the top of the bars. So I'm going to just go up a bit, put it down, just tidy it up, tidy it up. Tidy. A bit more up here, tidy. So it doesn't really matter what you do at the moment. Right, last one. Now then, as you can see, I've made a bit of a blunder here, that I actually exposed the wall behind the cow, which is not what I want to do. Now, if I'd erased it, that would have been very, very difficult. If I hadn't noticed it straight away and gone back, used Control Z or Edit, to revert to what I was doing before, I would have to start all over again. But because I'm using this layer mask over here on the right, as long as that is highlighted and it has a turquoise square line round it to show it's highlighted, I can actually go back down to the bottom of the toolbar to these colour squares, click on this revert arrow so that the white is now at the foreground. I think I'll increase the size a bit so I can be a bit more careful. I'll go up to the top, and now I can repair my mistake. So I'll click on that, I'll use shift again, I'll come down, come up. I might go down to the bottom of that bar actually, because I made the mistake more or less the whole way. So let's go down here and let's go back up, and we've repaired it. Now we could do that with all these. This one's a bit exposed there as well. Come down to about here, isn't it? Got rid of that. And I won't bother with doing that side, but you get the general idea. So now we have our cow behind bars. Let's see what we can do with it. Can we move it about successfully? Aha! Problem, you think. Exactly the same as when I moved it with the eraser tool. But this time I can repair it much more easily. Now that's the edge of the over here is the edge of the picture, so you are going to see the wall behind, but never mind. I think I'm going to, let's move it back into position. I think I'd like the cow to be a bit bigger. I'd like to see more of her face and her eyes. So I'm going to click actually onto the image here, and then I'm going to increase it in size. You can either press Control plus, or I've set my mouse scroll wheel to increase in size when I'm in Photoshop. Right, now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get rid of what I've already done, or at least I'd like to get rid of a few bars, I think. So I'm going to go back to white down here on the left, find my brush, and I need to be on the layer. I think I'd like to go, so you can see where I actually wasn't on the layer there, so that wasn't a good idea at all. So actually I do need to Control Z and Control Z again to get rid of that mistake, because if you rub out when you're actually on the image, you do go back to the original papers. You remember I showed you in the first tutorial. So if you do make that sort of mistake, you need to Control Z or edit and get back to that. Now I'll start again. Now I think I want to get rid of this bar because I want to see a bit more of the cow. I think I'll get rid of that bar as well. So what I'm doing is I can bring it back any time. I think I'll get rid of that bar. And now we have a different image very easily, and I haven't had all the problem of having erased it and having to start again. So using layer mask means that you can change your mind, make mistakes, repair mistakes. If I decide, quite actually think I'd like to have that bar back in because it would hide that yellow bit in the cow's ear, all I have to do is come down to the colour squares, revert again to have black as the foreground colour, make sure I'm still on that layer, and I'll just paint that in again. Now, if I was being sensible, I'd obviously have increased the opacity so I could see where I was painting, but I didn't, but that doesn't matter because I'm using a colour mask, so I can revert my squares again, and I can just decrease that, click on that, go down to the bottom, use my shift key, paint that away, do the same up here, go down to the bottom, use my shift key, and it's all done. So using layer mask does save a lot of work because you can make as many mistakes as you like and you can instantly repair them. You don't have to go back to the beginning of your session. And then you can save this image want an image of a cow behind bars, save it as, and it will be